Welcome back to the fourth and the final segment of this discussion on this book, Beautiful Country, Stories from Another India. With me here in the studio, Dr. Syeda Hameed. 60s, I understand. Impolite to ask a woman her age. Member Planning Commission. About to turn 30. Gunjan Veda. Okay. Syeda ji, in your book, you talk about yourself. You acknowledge that despite having met these amazing people who've been able to overcome the circumstances in which they were born, and how they've been able to do amazing things, stories which have not been told. You've told their stories. But as a member of the Planning Commission, do you not feel frustrated that there's very little that you've been able to do, if at all, anything, to change their lives, to improve their conditions?
I think, yes. I think individually, if I say that the three widows who came to a public hearing in Mukhada Taluka of Thane district in Maharashtra, who said कि हमसे कहते हैं अपने अंत्योदय कार्ड के लिए पता दो, हम क्या पता दें, हम तो पेड़ के नीचे रहते हैं.
They don't have addresses.
They don't have addresses. Or the man in Palamu district, old tribal man who said कि जब मेरा घर पत्तों का होता है, जब हवा चलती है तो उड़ जाता है, मट्टी का बनाता हूँ, बारिश होती है तो बह जाता है. बहुत फ्रस्ट्रेशन होती है कि इंडिविजुअली हम उनके लिए क्या कर सकते हैं.
They are just one more among those Excel sheets and those tens and millions and crores of people who are underprivileged.
I think you said it so beautifully. हमारा पर्पस ये था कि उन एक्सेल शीट्स में जो लिखा जाता है, जो फिगर्स भरे जाते हैं, उसमें हम एक जान लेके आए और कोई ऐसा एक्सेल शीट पास न हो जिसमें उस ट्राइबल आदमी की उस औरत की फ्रॉम मुखाडा तालुका, उनकी बात हम वहां हाईलाइट नहीं कर सके. एंड आई कैन टेल यू वन थिंग, प्रंजॉय, दैट आज ये है कि कोई हम बात करते हैं इंडिविजुअल गरीबी की, इंडिविजुअल मुफलिसी की, जो हालत देश में लोगों की है. आज ये मैं समझती हूँ, 7 साल के बाद मैं आपसे कह सकती हूँ कि देयर इज अ वेरी डेफिनेटली एन एटीट्यूड. It's not all economics, it's not all statistics, it's not all number crunching, it's not pat solutions. There is a hearing. True, I have not been able to do for individuals, but I think there is a systemic dharkan which is going on.
1 minute. Is she being excessively optimistic? You've listed out all these government schemes at the end of your book: the Integrated Child Development Service, ICDS, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Midday Meal Scheme, National Rural Employment Guarantee Program, National Rural Mission, which one can go on and on. Janani Suraksha Yojana, Health Insurance Scheme for Handloom Workers. Many of these schemes remain schemes on paper. You've been moved on, from the Yojana Bhavan and dirtied your feet and gone to the villages and the hovels of the poor. But within our elite, among our netas, among our babus, you can say they remain as insensitive as ever, They clear their conscience by dropping a few coins on the hands of a poor girl after rolling down the window of their air-conditioned car. Yes. Am I being too cynical?
Partly. When I started, the reason I didn't want to get into Planning Commission was because that's precisely what I thought. And I thought there's no point working with a group of people who are doing precisely this. But when I went there, I realized that it's true, a lot of people are like that. But it's also true there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of good work. And I think we've come across collectors. We've come across government functionaries who are making a difference. We've come across chief ministers who've taken what we've said seriously and who've worked on it.
Are they an exception? Are they in a minority? The honest bureaucrat, the honest politician, the sensitive guys?
Well, I guess yes. Unfortunately, yes. They are not as many as we would want them to be. But I think it's also partly, if I may say so, it's not just fair to always blame the bureaucrat for this. Because I think to a large extent, the way our systems are, they don't.
But the bureaucrat is part of the system, so is the politician, so is the planner. So it's a system itself, isn't it?
Yes, and that is a problem because we have met a lot of good bureaucrats who want to do things, who have great ideas, who've started implementing them. And yet, because of other systemic quote-unquote issues,
they end up being frustrated.
And they have not been able to carry it out.
Syeda ji, so how frustrated are those who want to change our society and cannot? Do you see this frustration? After a while, you know, that anger dies out and you say, why am I doing all this? It's better to be sitting comfortable, accepting the system, becoming cynical.
Yeah, there is one management expression that I learned, which is, bend over, here it comes again. I'd never heard it before, but I heard it, which means that...
Where did you hear it? Yojana Bhavan?
In Yojana Bhavan, which means कि हवा का झोंका आता है, झुक जाओ, गुजर जाएगा. तो फिर अपनी जगह पे सही तरीके से बैठे रहो. Bend over, here it comes. America से ये expression आया है.
Syeda ji, you are today part of a system, and the critics of the government say it's the government's policies that have created the system, that has widened the gap between the rich and the poor. That makes a big hue and cry when we say the poverty line should be 28 rupees or 32 rupees, you know. How do you react when the system of which you are a part of is accused of having contributed to the process that you see, that you have documented in your book?
Okay, that is true. What I said, my experiences begin in about 2004, and this book spans a period of about 7 years. During that time, let me give you one example. The example of the declining child sex ratio. It has become a huge reason for great worry and despair across the country. Now, declining child sex ratio has actually every chief minister who comes in front of us, and all the chief ministers from all the states appear before us for annual plan discussions. Child sex ratio is something that they cannot any longer invisibilize or deny.
Or ignore.
They are ready to do it, and we have had examples where states have actually listened to the kind of paradigm that we are suggesting, the multi-sectoral approach to a problem like that. They've actually passed government orders. I think these are important things, because earlier women and child were delegated to some corner, किसी हाशिए पे डाल दिए जाते थे, और कोई उसके बारे में roads, infrastructure, other big sectors took over, but human development has certainly taken center stage.
Is she talking like a good member of the Planning Commission, towing the line of the government? The government would like us to believe that they believe in inclusive development, that this is a government that cares, it's a humane government.
No, I don't think so. I think you started out yourself by saying that she's almost a misfit in the Planning Commission, no? So
that's what I said.
No, I don't think she's towing the line at all, because I have seen the kind of frustration that, you know, she has been through in that building. I've been there also, but it is true, change is happening. Yes, it's not as fast as we want it to. It's very slow.
Syeda ji, I'm going to let you have the last word on this discussion because we're almost through. These 7 years you've spent roaming all over the country, the world's largest democracy, the world's second most populous state. You met with the really poor, the underprivileged. You met a wide cross-section across the length and breadth of the country. How do you change the system faster from within? We agree there is change, but we also agree that the change is very slow, excruciatingly slow.
I think you change the system by not imposing your schemes and your ideas from above. I think you change
not a top-down, bottom-up.
But actually taking the dreams and the aspiration again of that man from Jharkhand and those 3 women from Thane, taking what is their aspiration and taking their partnership in a dignified way, not as a match of unequals,
not in a patronizing
but
manner.
in a dignified way. Yeah.
Okay, Syeda ji, thank you so much for coming here to the studio of Lok Sabha Television, giving us your views. Gunjan, thank you very much for coming here. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard what a member of the Planning Commission and her young friend, their views on the other India, the India that is struggling to survive, but they're optimistic. They agree that the change is slow, They believe, however, that change is possible. Perhaps they've let their optimism take precedence over their realism, but they do believe it's important. It's important to replicate. It's important to listen to the voices of the underprivileged. And if we do not listen to their voices, and if we do not appreciate what they're saying, then this country will never change as quickly as you want it to be. Your grandchildren will not live in a better India than your grandparents did. Thank you very much for being with us on this program.